Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
This is Pulse 95 and a very warm welcome back onto the Morning Majlis. We're talking freelancers. Fahima has texted in saying, I love my freelancing career. It gives me great freedom. Roma also texted us this morning saying that I'm a big fan of freelancing as well. Well, do text us on 4215 to share your thoughts and opinions on the matter. Mr. Falak has also joined in the discussions. He says, I am thinking of switching back to my full-time career. Not happy with freelancing.
Well, I love the interaction this morning.
Got a lot of different opinions.
Yeah,
nice
I love it. I love it. Well, why are we talking about this? Because the UAE saw a 197% increase in recruiting freelancers in the digital sector last year, according to the World Economic Forum. Now, in a report on future jobs, as they have said or named it, it's been created due to the COVID-19 pandemic, obviously. And this is what they said, the freelancers contributed to preparing and boosting digital content. These included blogs, podcasts, and videos. And the report also credited the UAE's thriving technical environment that encourages innovation and also digitalization of work for this growth. So the UAE government's decision last year to support professionals in the digital sector who wish to work remotely also contributed considerably to this.
I like that because it's great in terms of the opportunities you can get as freelancers, especially in the world of podcast as well, because a lot of companies do want to start their own podcast but don't necessarily want to invest in buying the equipment and hiring someone full-time and paying for the visas, paying for everything that is cost, isn't it? And then freelancers are out there saying, we can bring our own equipment, we can completely do everything for you. All you have to do is pay a set retainer. Similar with video production, similar with other sort of areas. Website design, social media management, and it's great. It's a win-win situation on both fronts. But then comes the big challenges of getting the payments done.
3 weeks ago, I believe, an analysis drawn by the platform LinkedIn from among its 4 million members in the UAE. According to this analysis, it specified that specialized medical professionals, digital content freelancers, professional and personal coaches, and also finance general business roles are among the pick of jobs that have seen a spike in demand because of the economic fallout of the coronavirus pandemic and its impact on human resources all around the world. So demand, obviously, for certain jobs in the UAE have seen an uptick, and those were the jobs that saw a demand.
Yeah, definitely, as well as the rise in corporate flexibility and the fact that the country is getting a lot more flexible as well with its visa rules, now issuing freelance licenses, and this is being embraced by companies as a cost-effective solution to get workers in a number of sectors, namely web development, software, e-learning, copywriting, and various app development job titles as well. So that's on the positive side of things. But Abdul Karim, you noted something about payments. I think that's an interesting thing to probe here.
Look, there's lots of perks and benefits of being a freelancer. And I have been a freelancer back in my days as well. Can sometimes still do it, it's always good. But then, look, the problem is with being a freelancer as well, the liberty is you're your own boss.
Right.
You can work for someone and say, okay, I want this done, and you as an expert or a consultant, you feel good. As a freelancer, you feel like, oh yes, I'm a consultant, I can walk in and have my say. Sometimes it backfires on you because then the clients don't think of you as a professional. They think you're a person that they can walk all over, or you're a service provider, you're a supplier that they can boss around. But saying, hey, yeah, we'll pay you when the CEO has arrived and signed the checks, and then when you come up, follow up, and the CEO is traveling, is off to Zanzibar or wherever on a business meeting, and then you never get paid. And then they also know that if you were to approach the courts, it's going to be a long and expensive process for you to do that. And sometimes it happens, isn't it? And that's been the downfall. The other side that could be downfall is a lot. Not only is there a lot of legal work, you don't have employee benefits.
Yeah.
You don't get anything. You don't get paid leave. You just work and get paid. If it's a low season, such as sometimes it happens during the summer months of the United Arab Emirates when events are not there, there's no work. Singers specifically, and we have to feel sorry for them as well, because there's a number of singers who work on a freelance basis can't do it in certain Emirates because of these COVID-19 restrictions, no more performances, so it can get very tricky.
It absolutely can, and that's why as a freelancer you need to get really careful with how you navigate the space. Always get officially licensed. It gives you the protection that you need. I also read some advice. It says don't be afraid to ask for a down payment if you're a freelancer, when payment is the most pressing preoccupation, and a lot of self-employed individuals reported getting late payments on work they had done, and as you had stated, some people not getting paid at all. So requesting a deposit up front would help out with your situation as a freelancer here in the country. And it's all about finding a working environment that works for you and enjoying the flexibility that you get with it, and just certainly just making the most of it. But without a doubt, we're seeing a rise in freelancing here in the country.
Absolutely, especially the digital content freelancing. The average, they say the average age for this job category was 29. That is slightly higher than other markets like Brazil and Spain, where the average age was 25 and 26, but here it's 29 in the UAE. And looking more into it, the top skills that you need to attain when you are a digital content freelancer. You need to know how to work on YouTube, blogging, social media marketing, creative writing, and also video production. Common job titles would be content coordinator, blogger, YouTuber, or podcaster. So much more also to discuss on this.
There's so much. It's a never-ending discussion. And before we have the news team becoming our freelance program director and telling us off, let's move on to the world of sports headlines. Stay with us. This is the Morning Majlis. We'll be back after that. And it is the Prince Harry interview with James Corden up next.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis. Pulse 95.
Join the conversation with the Morning Majlis. Up next, we're going to be talking about something a bit more intense and interesting. It is the world of the royal family. Ronnie, you're a big fan of the show The Crown.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I love it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I really am curious to know what Prince Harry had to say about The Crown, because he did talk about it.
He did talk about it, and you know why? He's got a Netflix deal, right?
Right.
Got to plug in Netflix in his interviews. Got to promote his employers, freelancing. You know, it's all about that. Extra cash, extra discussion. Now, the thing is, it was a very good interview. I watched it and I was very hooked onto it. I'm a big fan of how James Corden does his program. He's a funny character. He's a great guy as a host as well. And look, you know, we all interview people as well as journalists and broadcasters. Sometimes it takes us a long time to get very clicked up with our guest. But Corden has it mapped out so easily, and it was such a great interview to catch, and both of them were themselves, were being childish, turning up to a house which was the house of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and they're trying to knock on his door and convince Prince Harry to be the real prince and buy the house. So it was funny, it was pretty cool. And Prince Harry saying, oh, you know what, instead of trying to buy a house, can I use your toilet because I really need a loo break? And then he says, don't worry, I have done a COVID test recently, I'm okay to be in your house or wherever. So it was quite a human character brought out from it. But what got me really concerned is Oprah Winfrey was going to get the big interview.
She will, yeah. Eventually.
No, but it was always
this
destined.
Is a lead up to it.
I watched another analysis on a British TV show because Prince Harry does take a dig or have a go on the British media for this decision.
He did talk about that.
Yes, and he said, and they were saying that what's happening is that the James Corden interview was the main order of Prince Harry with Meghan Markle as a side dish, but Oprah Winfrey is going to be Meghan Markle mainly with Harry as a side dish.
Huh.
That's interesting.
Good analysis.
It is, and I quite like the way they did this interview. They did it on top of a bus as well. Yeah. And it's probably going to be so much more informal than what's going to happen in the Oprah Winfrey interview. What I liked was the part where, because you noted Fresh Prince part. Prince Harry was rapping to the theme song from the show while they were walking towards the house, and they had a little banter about buying the house as well. I like because I think it humanized them. It humanized the royal family, and he really touched on various aspects of his personal life with Meghan Markle as well. They do sound like regular people. They watch game shows in bed. He also talked about the moment he felt like Meghan Markle was the one as well, and talked about essentially how dating goes when you're in the royal family. So it was a quite wide-ranging interview, and really interesting to see him in his element like that with none other than James Corden, who really gets you comfortable and up and going.
Yeah, and how he discussed also the pressures of royal life and his move away from London. He told James Corden that he decided he needed to get his family out of there, and that he basically preferred the depiction of royal life seen on Netflix show The Crown to the one published in newspapers. He actually liked it.
He does. He does his obviously fictional, most of the things that you see. But he did point out during the interview that he would tell his kids, Archie and the other one, saying that look,
the other one that's coming on the way.
that this is going to be this is the royal family, as opposed to reading books of history to his children. So that's going to be quite interesting. But let's listen into some parts of it, especially the big question: why did you leave the royal family? And this is what Prince Harry had to say.
It's such a monumental decision to have walked away from the royal family. Why did you feel that was necessary and the right thing to do for you and your family?
It was never walking away. It was stepping back rather than stepping down.
Right.
It was a really difficult environment, as I think a lot of people saw. We all know what the British press can be like. And it was destroying my mental health. I was like, this is toxic.
Yeah.
So I did what any husband and what any father would do, is like, I need to get my family out of here. But we never walked away. And as far as I'm concerned, whatever decisions are made on that side, I will never walk away. I will always be contributing, but my life is public service. So wherever I am in the world, it's going to be the same thing.
So that was the big old conversation that they had with James Corden.
Because I know we're both a long way away from home. Your life now is very different to your life back home, and particularly when you were in the military.
Oh, when I opened to a bus.
Yeah.
That's great.
So I've actually arranged a little something to take you back to your roots, a little taste of military life.
Okay.
As a gift, really, from me to you, and I'm already regretting saying that I'll be part of it. But if you follow me, I've got a treat for you.
Yeah, so they go on to an obstacle course, and they attempt at that, and Prince Harry was obviously pretty good at it, and James Corden struggled at times, and it just went on to show the human side of them, encouraging each other, and it just great interview to watch. I mean, it was a 17-minute long interview. When I put it on yesterday afternoon, trying to put it on YouTube, I was hooked onto it. There was not a single minute where I said, I'm getting bored of this now. And that's what was great about this conversation, a very engaging conversation. But do let us know on the text lines 4215 if you've got any particular opinion about it and would like to share your thoughts and messages. Text lines remain open. Up next, enjoy the world of travel, because we've got a bit of a little trivia thing, a little general knowledge about Al Madam area, followed by Danny Aridy's Wanderlust.
Pulse 95.
The Morning Majlis, talking the stories that are shaping headlines. This is Pulse 95.
Pulse 95, and a very warm welcome back onto the Morning Majlis. We'll talk about the big milestone that we've achieved in terms of the vaccines in the country. But before we do, just a little bit of a recap in terms of how things are being done and coordinated by the Ministry of Community Development in cooperation with the Ministry of Health and Prevention as they continue to carry out the vaccination campaign for senior citizens all over the United Arab Emirates. The campaign included Ajman, Dubai, Al Fujairah, Al Quwain and Ras Al Khaimah. They looked at senior citizens, and they went into areas in Ras Al Khaimah in particular, the Han, Julfar, Rams and Sham areas in the Emirate. This was launched on the 10th of January and has achieved a great response as well.
That's right. It achieved a great response from hundreds of male and female senior citizens. And as part of its ongoing efforts, the campaign continues to deliver the vaccine to the largest numbers of senior citizens across the UAE to ensure their prevention against the coronavirus, and also receive 2 doses as per a time schedule all over the UAE. And according to the Assistant Undersecretary of Social Development at the Ministry of Community Development, His Excellency, or Her Excellency, Hassa Tahlak, she said that, or she emphasized that the senior citizens vaccination campaign was able to deliver the vaccine to senior citizens in several areas across the UAE that Abdul Karim just mentioned, through the medical team at the senior citizen centers in Ajman, Dubai, Al Fujairah, Dubai Al Fujairah, Al Qawain, and also Ras Al Khaimah, lauding the efforts of the Ministry of Health and Prevention in providing a medical team to vaccinate senior citizens at their residences, ensuring the delivery of services and also providing the vaccine to the largest possible number of targeted groups.
Yeah, and on that, the UAE's reached a new milestone as part of its vaccine drive. 6 million doses have been administered as part of the UAE's major immunization drive. Officials confirming the landmark figure was passed after a further 81,790 shots were given to the public over the course of the past 24 hours. And about 1 million doses have been given to people in the past 2 weeks alone. Dr. Farid Al-Hosseini, spokeswoman for the health sector, said last week the UAE's aim was to reach herd immunity in order to protect more vulnerable members of society. Now, how do we know when we reach herd immunity? It's a question that governments around the world are racing to answer. And herd immunity is when a large number of people in a community will have either recovered from the infection or have been vaccinated. It's quite difficult to establish because immunity wanes over time and new variants of the virus develop. But the thing about it is, you don't have a public announcement where we say, hooray, we reached herd immunity, it's over. But you get those indicators when the number of daily infections is on a significant decline, and you've established that a significant number of the population has already been immunized, and we're already at that step so far. We have the numbers as far as vaccinations are concerned, and the expectation is that over the next few months, we'll see a significant dip in the daily number of infections.
Certainly will be, and it is something that we're going to continue talking about. Do send us your text and messages on thoughts and messages on the text lines 4215. And one thing that is a perk of getting vaccinated is getting that gold E-star that lets you go to Abu Dhabi without doing a PCR test. That is something I'm looking forward to. Go back to the nation's capital after a long break as well. And that is going to be the key discussion as well. Do send us your thoughts and messages on that. Up next is the world of news headlines. So we'll continue the discussions after that, recapping on the big achievements of the Emirate of Sharjah. And we're also going to be giving you a little bit of a sports update and an update on the new park opening in the Emirate of Sharjah. And this time it's going to be in the Al Rahmaniya area. Stay with us on the Morning Majlis.
Stay fit. Stay fit. Stay fit.
Oh yeah, we're staying fit, talking about sports here. Having won the Tour de France in the COVID-19 hit 2020, UAE Team Emirates rider Tadej Pogačar actually made the perfect start to the new season with a win or a victory in the UAE Tour on Saturday. The 22-year-old Slovenian won his maiden UAE Tour title as Australian rider Caleb Ewan actually clinched the 7th and final stage of the competition in Abu Dhabi on Saturday. But yeah, Pogačar's victory on Saturday could not have tasted sweeter, having beaten Adam Yates for the title after the British rider had got the better of him in the coronavirus curtailed event last year.
Yeah, and what a fantastic finish to the race as well, and got everyone excited about the UAE Tour. Let us know if you were affected by those road closures that happened over the weekend in some parts of the country. Now, big talking point from the world of football is Newcastle United, of course, the only team that matters in the Premier League. Shout out to everyone else out there.
Picking sides here.
They are staring at the relegation zone. It's not cool. And they drew 1-1 against Wolverhampton. The skipper for Newcastle also says that the team needs to put points on the board. So do the fans, and they're very, very upset about the missed opportunities and poor form that is continuing for the side. It's just not ideal. Another side that they should learn from is Leeds, who are mid-table at the moment. Above Arsenal, so Umar Duri, he might be tuned in. Well, what's Arsenal doing over there? They don't belong below the bottom of the table. Then it doesn't look like it. But yeah, they're the bottom half at the moment, 1 point away from Leeds, and Newcastle 17th, just a few more points, and it's Fulham as well in the relegation zone. And Newcastle over there with such a loyal fan base, not an ideal situation to be in. So hopefully things do get better for them. Elsewhere in the world of sports, rugby as well.
Yeah, definitely a big rugby story, and we'll get into that. But first, I want to talk about the La Liga because it's quite a tight race for the top spot. Atletico Madrid is number 1, but Lionel Messi scoring a goal and assisting one another as Barcelona beat Sevilla and are 2 points within La Liga leaders Atletico Madrid as well. I thought that was a great game, and Messi did a bit of a scramble home at a late second to clinch the game and move Barcelona forward. So now they're 53 points, 2 points away from the top spot, and Madrid is right behind them, 1 point away. So La Liga is pretty exciting at the moment.
It is, and now we have Wales as well. They won the Triple Crown with the victory of England in the dramatic encounter at the Principality Stadium for the Six Nations. England, obviously during the Six Nations this year, were shocked by a defeat against Scotland, and now it's Wales having their fair share of a say. And what an exciting finish for the winners here. 40-24 is the Welsh victory to take that Triple Crown, and amazing encounter that took place yesterday. Well, for now, the Majlis team shall stretch and make their way out of the studios and let you enjoy some more musical entertainment that is on offer. Thank you for tuning in, and if you'd like to catch up with some of these discussions, where can they catch them?
They can catch the audio conversations on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and SoundCloud, and also the video conversations. You can find them uploaded on YouTube. Just type in Pulse 95 Radio and look for the Morning Majlis playlist. Subscribe, share, and like.
Well, that was it for the Majlis. We'll be back again bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
If you liked this episode of the Morning Majlis, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.
Pulse